This is the Gazelle Avignon C380. It's a totally new bike. Full disclosure, I do sell these bikes, so I don't know if this is a review or an overview. You be the judge, but it's a pretty cool bike. It's totally new platform for Gazelle. Most people looking at it, they might think it's similar to their Arroyo series, but it's kind of upgraded in a lot of ways. One of the things, it's got really wide tires on it. So these are 2.15. In a place like New York where the roads can be really rough, having a wider tire really improves the comfort and traction on the bike. And personally, I'm really all about that. I really like having a comfortable bike, quite often ride a bike with full suspension. This bike has suspension up front as well as the rear. Really sturdy frame. It's got a pretty sturdy frame too, you know. We could wait till this person passes. There's like 6 kids in each seat. Okay. Maybe this is not the best place to film. All right, the seat is currently adjusted for Tara, so don't judge me. But let's go find someplace less noisy to film this thing. But overall, I think this is a really solid bike, well suited for probably the urban commuter. You know, somebody that wants to invest a little bit more in a really high quality bike, slightly more torque in the motor. Maybe you're in a hillier area, you want some of that extra torque. You want something really silent. A lot of people really appreciate that, riding on some different bike paths and things like that. This, at the moment, is actually Gazelle's kind of most premium bike, and I think it really shows. So if that's the type of thing that you're into, I think you'll probably appreciate it. You got that upright, classic Dutch riding position, but if you wanted to, you can drop the bars down a little bit more sporty. But I'd say it's just a good all-round bike. You know, you're not going to want to go on any single track mountain bike trails with this, but you know, some dirt paths, some pack gravel, that sort of thing, I think it'd be quite capable there. Big fan of the Enviolo hub. Many people are as well. It's not for everybody, but I like it. I should just like roll the bike out of this, like, all right. Am I glistening now? So we're trying to hide out here at Domino Park. Seems a little bit better. There's some construction going on, but it's just New York for you. You got train, construction, you got a bike. That's one argument to ride bikes more. It's a lot quieter. But let's talk about this bike. This is the Avignon C380 low step bike. It's available in the pebble gray, which is this, as well as the teal gray. It's available in 3 different sizes, a 46, 53, and 57 centimeter. They say it starts around 410 with the 46 centimeter, but your mileage may vary depending on your inseam. Up to 6'4", that also can vary depending on your inseam. Your inseam is really going to be important for how long this seat post is going to be. And in theory, you could put a longer seat post on there if you're taller. There's only so far down you can go if you're shorter. But I really like the geometry of this bike with this more like laid back seat post. It's kind of got a lot more laid back position, but it also makes it easier to put your feet on the ground when you have the correct saddle height. The thing that a lot of people that are not that experienced biking or maybe don't feel as comfortable, they feel that they want to have the saddle lower. This allows you to have the saddle lower to put your feet down, but still have the appropriate pedal stroke to get the power out of it. C380, what's that about? This is an Enviolo shifter. It's a continually variable transmission, also known as a CVT. It works similar to like a volume dial as opposed to a channel clicker, for those of you that remember that. So to change into an easier gear, you twist it away from you. As you get it going, you twist it towards you into a harder gear. But beyond that, the bike has a lot of adjustability as well. As with most Gazelle bikes, they have an adjustable stem. This has the Gazelle switch stem, which is very popular for them. It basically just pull this little switch down, and then with that, you can kind of adjust the height, depending if you want to be in a more forward position, a little bit more sporty, or you want the handlebars a little bit more upright. Just remember, as you adjust it, to also adjust the handlebars. You generally want them in a bit more of like a flatter position like this. Clamp it right down like that. The mist is back. I'm just gonna try to get a little bit of mist. Really hot, really hot. It's 84 degrees and I think the humidity is about 100%. Excuse me for a second. I just want to interrupt you for just a moment and let you know about the sponsor of this video. A little bit weird, but it's actually sponsored by me or my company, Propel. We're an e-bike business. We have several locations, New York, Long Beach, California, and Wilmington, Delaware. And we're actually able to ship bikes throughout the country, generally fully assembled. We're able to support them as well through a variety of different partners and systems that we use. It's kind of a surprise to a lot of people that these videos are generally not funded by the brands or whatever, but it's actually funded by this business. How that works is like basically people buy e-bikes from us, or they buy parts, accessories, that sort of stuff. They patronize us, and that really helps. So I ask you consider checking out our website, propelbikes.com. We have a link below in the description. You can visit one of our shops, you can call us, however you'd like to connect with us. But we'd appreciate having the opportunity to earn your business and really help you find the right e-bike or accessory for your specific needs. That's kind of why we call our salespeople matchmakers, not salespeople, because we're not really in that business. Well, get back to it. So outside of that, there's loads of really nice features on this, including the new Smart System by Bosch with the Performance Line motor, 75 Newton meters of torque, really silent, Smart System display. And the Smart System includes all sorts of new features, including the ability to update the system over the air. You have the ability to add GPS tracking into the bike if you wanted to, have different riding modes, all sorts of different options. Really nice upgrade on here. And let's get into some more of the details, and it could show you a bit more of what makes this bike unique and special. So the tires on here are pretty cool. So they're 28 by 2.15. This is a new tire brand, Scalato, and the specific collection of the tire is the Mondano. Apparently from their website, they are a Dutch brand, although they're made in PRC. I don't know why they just don't say Philippines, but it's made in the Philippines. But nonetheless, they seem like really nice tires. They ride nice, really low rolling resistance, but apparently they're very puncture resistant. This tire brand has experience with the automotive sector, so they're actually producing tires for cars as well. I believe they're using a different name for that. So these run from a 40 to 65 PSI. I think you can run them at a little bit of lower pressure. They have a pretty heavy sidewall there, so you can kind of use the tire to give you even more comfort on the bike. Right now I'm running them at a slightly higher pressure, just to have a bit more efficiency there. But looking up here, you can see we also have this suspension fork. This is a Gazelle proprietary suspension fork. They actually make it themselves, and it's 30 millimeters of travel up there. Really plenty for most urban riding. And then you could see this really unique fender they have here with the headlight as well as the side view here, which gives you that additional visibility. And they have this little adjustment screw on top so you can adjust the angle of the headlight. This is really important. I think sometimes those cheaper headlights, they don't have that and they just blind everybody that you're riding by, and kind of frustrating. Speaking of visibility, you have this additional reflective strip on the sidewall. Apparently this tire is rated for speed bikes. This bike is not specifically a speed bike, but it's nice to see that it has something that can handle those higher speeds. It's really built for that. Oh, missed brake, be right. All right, I gotta say, I really respect the people that are working outside in this weather. I mean, when I was in Iraq, I got up to 135 degrees. It was dry heat. It does make a difference. I mean, this is really humid. I say Iraq, it was kind of like you just like open the oven and you just like have like a fan, sprinkle some sand in there, kind of what it's like. This, I don't know, it's like a steam room. You got your clothes on. Yeah, well, let's get back into it. So for the drivetrain on the bike, we have the Enviolo C380, continually variable transmission. It's really nice for urban environments, makes it really easy to shift from a standstill. It's also really nice for people that maybe don't have as much experience with shifting gears, which is pretty common, at least in the US it is. You just kind of twist it away from you. You want to make it easier to pedal, twist it towards you, make it harder to pedal, and that basically just moves this little shifting mechanism back here. It also has a belt drive instead of a chain, which is quite nice. You might be wondering why this thing is kind of coming up like this. There's a little tensioner on the belt there, and they have this little bar here, which is meant to just kind of protect the belt, make sure that it stays in place there. But overall, the belts work really well, very quiet, very clean, very little to no maintenance involved. Just got to keep them clean and they'll last you a really long time. A lot of people don't know, and looking at something like this, is that inside of here, there's actually carbon strands, and that's what gives it its strength. So it's not just like a rubber belt as much as some people might think that it is. Outside that, you can see the frame is really heavy duty here, really heavy duty rack on here. This uses the MIK HD system, which there's now child seats that are becoming more commonly available with this. Thule and Yep are going to have some available later this year as well, which I'm excited. Here in North America, that's one of the few brands that will actually be available with this system. But that's one of the nice things, that this can actually accommodate a child seat as well as some luggage. A lot of racks are not really rated for that type of weight. This can carry over 60 pounds, and it has this really nice Spinninga light integrated integrated into the rear rack, really heavy duty along with this reflector. And then you have this nice little strap on here as well. There's also different bags that you can mount into here with the MIK system, so that's a nice option as well. It has this really nice frame lock. So one of the things that's a little bit unique about these bikes, because they're made in the Netherlands, it's quite common. In order to remove the key from this lock, you actually have to lock the lock, which is a little bit of a strange thing, but in the Netherlands, you can get insurance for this bike. If the bike is stolen, if you can show that the bike was locked, as in you have these two keys, you can make a claim. There's also this little hole right here, which you can insert an additional chain that you can add a little bit more security. If you're gonna lock it up for extended periods, I probably wanna add an additional lock on top of that. Maybe you wanna put like a folding lock mounted to the frame. Could be nice, integrated there. I really like the frame though, and one thing you'll note if you ride this bike is it's really stiff. That's a good thing. It's compliant where it needs to be in the tires, the suspension seat posts, the suspension fork, but the frame overall, it's really confidence inspiring because of its stiffness. And not usually so easy to make a low step bike like this that is very stiff, but they've done some unique things here with the way that they've run the tubing, the size of the tubing, and I think all that contributes there. This has the Bosch Performance Line motor, part of the new Smart System. That has now 75 Newton meters of torque, really plenty of torque for even the hillier areas. The motor on this bike uses a technology called pedal assist. Basically, it activates based on your pedaling, and it's going to give you different levels of assistance. You can actually have no assistance riding just like a normal bike, or you can start around 60% and you go up to 340%. I like to say in kind of rudimentary terms that it's good. Basically, you take one pedal stroke, the bike's going to take a half on top, and then on the top level, it's more than 3 times of what you put into it, which if you think about it, that's pretty significant. And the power is activated through your pedaling, but it's actually not sensing just how fast you're pedaling, it's also sensing how hard you're pedaling, as well as how fast the bike is going overall. And based on that and the assistance mode that you select, it's going to provide assistance proportionate to your input. And it has an integrated 625 watt-hour battery, really give you plenty of range, and you can see more details about how far it'll get you up on the display. Will actually tell you. But if you want to actually calculate how far you might be able to go in your unique riding conditions, Bosch has a range calculator. It can be really useful for those sort of scenarios, and you can make a determination of, like, you know, how far you can go. This is the charge port here, so you can see basically you could just open that up and you can charge in there. One thing to note, because it's the new Smart System, it's a unique charger, unique battery, there's kind of unique connections on there. So coming up to the handlebars, you can get a closer look at this switch stem, which basically you can just pull up here and you can just adjust the angle here. And as you adjust the angle of the stem, you also want to adjust the handlebars. Now you can also adjust the angle of the display, and you'll want to do that depending if you got a glare. Outside of that, you got a little bell here, which is kind of nice, gentle, letting somebody know that you're coming there. Really nice ergonomic position, swept back handlebars. For the display here, we have the Bosch Intuvia 100. In order to turn it on, you're just going to hit the power button up here. Just takes a couple of seconds, turns on, see Intuvia 100 on here, and you could see this light up here. It's going to give you all sorts of different information, including what assistance level you're in, kind of give you a general sense of how much battery life you have. Because keep in mind, you can operate the bike with just this. You don't actually need this display. This display can come off. You can also mount it in different places. You also note that there's no cable actually running to this. It connects via Bluetooth. We'll just mount the display back on here. And you could put all different types of Smart System displays on here without rewiring it, which I found that to be really nice. You can also use a smartphone if you want it as your display. Here you can cycle through different information. You have the battery life percentage, how fast you're going, 16.7 miles per hour. That's like your average speed, how many miles the bike is going overall. I got to reset the clock on here. It's not correct, not 10:27 p.m., but you can see how the range changes depending on the different assistance level you're in. One of the things that's new about the new Smart System is that you have this new auto mode, and that basically gives you the full range of assistance from tour to turbo mode. Basically, as you're riding and you don't need as much assistance, it's not going to give you as much, but as soon as you encounter a hill or you're really pushing the bike harder, it's going to give you more of that turbo mode. So I feel like this is the type of bike that really is pretty comfortable in this like tour or auto mode, just cruising and taking it easy. But if you wanted to get into the settings mode, you could just hold the select button down for a couple of seconds and you're into settings, and then you can just cycle through the different setting options. And then if you wanted to reset all the settings, you could do that. Just hold this down for a couple seconds. So these are the new Magura MTC hydraulic disc brakes. They're made kind of specifically for urban e-bikes. One of the really nice features of this is this brake lever adjust, that you have this little knob you can turn, so you can adjust the levers forward and aft depending on how big your hands are. It makes it really nice if you're sharing a bike between different rider sizes. You can also adjust the brake levers pretty easily. One quick little tip on this, I usually try to leave the levers kind of loose enough that they can be rotated. This is for a variety of different reasons. One, it's not really intended to kind of torque this down so much based on the material that they use for this. If the bike was ever like hit or something like that, it allows the lever to move a little bit, but you can also adjust it ergonomically a little bit more if you are sharing with different riders, if you're adjusting the stem height, that sort of thing. So for the rear of the bike, see that we have these Magura disc brakes. This brake is kind of hidden well behind the frame. It's a dual piston caliper with a 160 millimeter rotor in the back and 180 up front. Really plenty for this type of riding. Really heavy duty Ursus kickstand here. You also have an integrated speed sensor, which is another little upgrade that you see on this new Smart System, that the magnet is here and a little sensor just behind here to calculate the speed of the bike overall. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for sticking it out with us. I know we kind of bounced around to some different sets while we're making this. Kind of hot filming in the summer here, but I really enjoyed riding this. I look forward to riding it some more. Let me know what you guys think about it, and look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care.